So, you're thinking of building your own home studio. I'd like to offer my congratulations as you enter your journey of exploration, and my condolences to your bank account. If you'd like some tips on the gear and software you'll need to acquire, then join me for this episode of I Don't Have a Band right now. Welcome to episode 20 of I Don't Have a Band. Hey there, I'm Dan, the self-proclaimed Lonely Rocker. As with most of my episodes, we're here in the Lonely Rocker's lair. My home studio is my sanctuary. I work here and I play here. I've actually been recording at home since 4-track cassette tape recorders were the norm. Yes, I'm aging myself. After that, I recorded through the input of a Sound Blaster sound card in my old PC. The early days of this studio started strictly as a video editing setup. I make my living producing video content. It was just my old Apple G5 and a no-name 24-inch flat panel TV in my kitchen. But as I've always done, I use my computer to make music, mainly just to save ideas. It was only a couple of years ago that I transformed this setup into the hybrid video and home recording studio that it is today. You're going to be creating your own story and path towards your home studio build. For most, a home studio is an endless journey. It's a step-by-step, piece-by-piece process. This video is a starter guide to help you better understand the gear and software you'll need to acquire, and to help you minimize costly mistakes. As you begin your journey, it's important to know that you're not alone. There's an amazing group on Facebook that can be an invaluable resource and tool for you. If you're already there, look me up. If not, the Home Recording Studio Zone is a community of beginners, hobbyists, and pros who love talking about gear and music. It's an especially great group if you're just getting started on your home studio build. It has a very engaged audience, so if you have any specific questions about home studio related topics, you just pop your question in there and you'll get a myriad of answers from people all over the globe. And stick around, a co-founder of the Home Recording Studio Zone, Ricky T. Brown, will be joining us right here, so stay tuned for that. There is a link to the group in the description, so make sure to join us if you haven't already. The best way to start is by asking yourself some very simple questions. Addressing the who, what, when, where, and why might seem silly, but trust me, you don't want to get too far along without addressing some of the basics. Make sure you answer each question as honestly and accurately as you can. Who is going to be working in the studio and who may be in proximity of your space? This is very important and will help you make some other decisions. If you live in an apartment, your neighbors will be a factor. If you share a space with someone else, they will be a factor. If you have kids like me, they will. Whoa, guys, listen, I'm right in the middle of shooting a video.
Oh, sorry. Rock on. Carry the torch, rock and roll.
See what I mean? So make sure you're clear on who will be impacted by your studio. They're gone. What are you planning on doing in your studio? Are you recording, mixing other people's tracks, creating a writing environment, or simply putting something together to start learning? It may be all of the above, but knowing your master plan before you start is critical. When do you plan on working in your studio? 24 hours a day? During the day when no one is home? At night when others are sleeping? You better get this one right or you'll continually frustrate yourself and others near you. Once you've answered the previous 3 questions, you can start to address where you're going to set up your studio. Now, I realize many will only have one option. Perhaps it's your bedroom. Maybe you're like me and have some space in the basement, but you can start to see the impact your studio will have on your life and possibly others around you. Compromises will have to be made in the beginning, but if you're starting your path to great success, then make the compromises early so you can at least get started. If you're committed, your studio will evolve over time, so don't get frustrated with early challenges. We all dream of a fully functioning studio with an SSL desk and racks of analog gear. And there are definitely steps to get there. But you need to clearly identify why you want to start building a studio now. From learning to recording and mixing, a studio can serve many functions. So clearly answering this question is paramount before you start salivating over any gear. If you answered the first 4 questions honestly, then you've clearly identified your challenges. I'm sure you want to do it all, but be patient. If you're in this for the long haul, you have a ton of fun ahead. But you need to get in the game first, so don't let early challenges stop you from starting. Based on all of the factors I've mentioned, determine your first and most realistic use for your studio and start your build from there. The challenges of a video like this is it has to be a bit general, as we all have different needs. However, there are some basics that are universal. Let's start with your computer. There are all-in-one digital mixers and recorders. That is absolutely an option, but the focus for this video will be DAW-based studios because they tend to be more flexible and expandable. By the way, if you don't know, DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation, and is the software you will need to record and mix your music. I'm going to dive into that a bit later, but your DAW and computer go hand in hand. A question I often see in the home recording studio zone asks if their computer is powerful enough. There is a simple way to answer this question. Memorize the phrase, System Requirements for. System Requirements for. Okay, now go to Google and type in that phrase, and before you hit enter, add the DAW you are considering, like System Requirements for Reaper, System Requirements for Logic Pro 10. You get the idea. You'll find all the answers you need right there. If you're looking to start with your existing computer, you will quickly see if your computer meets the minimum requirements required to run the software. If your plan is to buy a computer, I highly recommend shooting as high above the minimums as your budget allows, or get an expandable computer that will allow you to upgrade in the future, as there are other considerations beyond the software. If you're stuck with your existing computer, then your first DAW decision will be based on what you're able to run. So don't fret it, go with it, and grow later. The audio interface is your bridge from the analog world to your computer and back. If you're not sure what an audio interface does, check out my audio interface video for beginners. The link is in the description below. If it is clear what you will be doing in your studio, then narrowing down your choice should be pretty easy. If you're simply mixing, a 2-input interface with 2 to 4 outputs will get the job done. If you're jumping right in and recording live drums, well, then you'll need a much bigger interface. I also did a video that compares 10 different audio interfaces at 3 different price points. Again, the link to that video is in the description, so check it out to help you find out what interface will work for you. However, an audio interface is a must if you want to record instruments into your computer and monitor your mixes on speakers and headphones. The interface provides all of the ports to get sound in and out of your computer. If you're just getting started, don't labor over the interface. As long as it provides some ways to get in and out of your computer, you can start working. Your needs will grow over time. It's super easy to change out an audio interface in the future, so buy one that you can afford. Most will get the job done. Coming up, we're going to dive into studio monitors, headphones, and some tips on how to choose a DAW, so stay tuned for that. But right now, I'd like to introduce you to Ricky T. Brown, one of the co-founders of the Home Recording Studio Zone, producer, composer, musician, and owner of one of the most awesome home studios you'll ever see, and a super knowledgeable guy. What's up, Ricky?
Hi there, Dan. Thanks for that generous intro. When we launched HRZ last year, we wanted to appeal to all home studio recorders, but we were particularly interested in people just starting on their musical journey. Looking at other Facebook groups, we realised that people that are new to it often get a really rough ride. So we wanted to be a bit different with HRZ and make it a place where people feel more comfortable about asking questions, and we're lucky that we've got a lot of people on the group that are ready to help, even with the most basic of questions. Just want to reassure you guys out there that we all had to start somewhere, and videos like this one are a great aid in learning the basics and understanding them right at the beginning. As the adage says, knowledge is power, and the power to open up your own creativity. So truthfully, as long as I've been doing this, I'm still learning something new all the time. At HRZ, it's our mission to make sure that no questions left unanswered. So if you're looking for a friendly group that can help you on your musical journey, come and join us at HRZ.
Good to see you, Ricky. Great guy, and you'll gain a lot of insight from him in the group. Again, make sure to join us if you haven't already. Okay, getting back into our list. Let's look at monitors and headphones. I think these two things stir up more debates than anything else, especially monitors. Be forewarned, these debates can be distracting. My advice is to stay out of them. Most are partial to what they own, and not because they've tried 20 different options in their spaces. Monitoring your mixes goes way beyond the speakers themselves. The studio space, acoustic treatment, knowledge, and experience all factor into getting great mixes. Speaker monitors and headphones are just tools in the process. If you're just starting, the impact of the speaker and headphone choices you make will be minimal to none. My only advice is to avoid standard music listening headphones like Beats by Dre, and do not use speakers from your home stereo. These will alter the sound and will not represent what you've recorded accurately, preventing you from learning how to get good results. However, most studio monitor manufacturers like Yamaha, KRK, M Audio, and others offer entry-level monitors. The size of the speaker will impact what you can hear. A 5-inch speaker won't have the bass response of an 8-inch speaker, but if your budget limits you to the 5s, then go for it. You can add a subwoofer later or even upgrade to bigger speakers. You can learn a ton mixing on 5-inch speakers. Your ear training needs to work across the full spectrum of frequencies. Master what you can hear and expand later. Baby steps. You might be forced into mixing on headphones because you just can't make noise where you live. While this is not the most optimal solution, you can make it work, and headphones will always find their way into your workflow. Even in the future when you have the most expensive studio monitors. Referencing your mix on headphones is always a good thing to do. Plus, they come in handy when tracking live instruments and vocals. Just avoid consumer headphones and pick studio headphones that meet your budget. Great companies like Audio-Technica, Sennheiser, AKG, and Bayer Dynamics all have reasonably priced headphones that will do the job far better than your Apple earbuds. Now for the DAW. Oh boy, this is the other argument starter. Where to begin? As I mentioned, a DAW, or digital audio workstation, is the software that drives your studio. You record, edit, and mix with it. It houses all of your plugins and virtual instruments. It's the brain of your whole studio. So, which one should you use? Now, sadly, I can't answer that question because we all have different disciplines. Whether you're recording real instruments and vocals, using mostly virtual instruments, or just mixing, all of our needs are different. Most cover off the mixing part the same, but it comes down to the type of instruments you want to record and your preferred workflow. Here's a quick overview of the main players. Pro Tools is the industry standard in pro studios, but it's expensive. Logic Pro has made a huge dent in the pro world and is great for composing, but it's Mac only. Cubase is an incredibly powerful DAW, and its developer Steinberg actually invented a lot of the technology we all take for granted, like MIDI and VST effects. Studio One, Reaper, FL Studio, Bitwig, Reason, and Ableton Live all have huge communities and are all great DAWs. So, where do you begin? This is what I recommend. Many audio interfaces come bundled with light versions of different DAWs. Some are optimized for their hardware like PreSonus and their Studio One, while others provide software from industry partners. Either way, you save the cost of the software up front. And while light versions have limitations compared to the full versions, it's a great way to get started because they're easier to learn, and hey, it's free. And once you start to learn more and feel you're just not liking that particular DAW, you will now be armed with more knowledge about the process to confidently choose the DAW that's right for you. So when you're ready to purchase your interface, make sure to choose one that comes bundled with a good DAW. There is a ton of other gear and software that I haven't touched on. I'm not going to dive into this too far. Obviously, a studio is going to need other things like microphones, instruments, cables, MIDI controllers, plugins, and things like that. These add-ons are going to be specific to the things you'll be doing in your studio. Especially microphones. That's a whole topic on its own. Once you have assembled the framework of your studio, you'll have a good idea what you'll need. And the Home Recording Studio Zone will be a great place to do some research and ask questions. So, I've covered off your computer, interface, monitoring, and your software. What's left? Oh right, what's between your ears? Recording and mixing is an incredibly complex and creative science. It's full of fundamentals and opinions, enough to drive anyone crazy. But it's extremely rewarding when you hit sonic milestones and learn new things. Your first home studio may just be a writing station, or you may be jumping into optimizing your space and doing some acoustic treatment like I've done here. Just remember, you can't skip steps in your learning process. And buying new gear is rarely the answer to many of your challenges. Pro studios are fully optimized from the construction of the room, the treatment on the walls, and the placement of all of the gear. It's likely your first studio won't be optimized for any of these things. But if you're patient and commit to putting in the time, you'll quickly start learning and arming yourself with the knowledge you'll need to better equip your studio going forward. Start conversations with all of us in the Facebook group. Ask questions and do the research. But most importantly, use the gear you have. Master it and expand when you're ready to do so. I've got a bunch of other resources here on my channel, like how to make your own acoustic panels, where to place them. I've got gear reviews and other resources with new videos being added all the time. So feel free to browse through my channel anytime. A big thank you goes out to Ricky T. Brown and the Home Recording Studio Zone. Make sure to follow the group on Facebook and join the conversations. As always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And please like, subscribe, and ring that bell to stay up to date. Remember, you don't need a band to rock and roll. There are a lot of great musical projects you can do by yourself right from your own home. I hope to see you again next time.